Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Menards is your complete bathroom renovation headquarters. Lyons has what you need to give your bathroom a fresh, updated look. Shop the largest selection of bathtubs and showers, including over 200 showers, bathtubs, and surrounds, which are a great way to start your remodel. You're sure to find the perfect one to fit your style and budget. Start your next project today and save big money on all Lyons bath and shower products at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Start the new year off with a bang at Hendrick's Home Furnishings going on now. Take up to 30% off tag sale prices on all in-stock Lazy Boy furniture. That's right, up to 30% off of Hendrick's already discounted sale prices, not from MSRP or list prices like the other stores. In stock and ready for delivery only at Central Illinois' go-to store for Lazy Boy deals. Family-owned Hendrick's Home Furnishings, delivering fine furniture since 1949 on Route 4 in Verdon.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
We don't trust you. Too many citizens in this state don't trust you. A government unchecked, a government willing to defy our Constitution is a government that is completely out of control. So you can sit here and dictate whatever you want today. Maybe the political winds are in your favor here today, but I can tell you that we will not comply. And you're not going to do a darn thing about it because the law, the Constitution, and the founding principles are on our side.
That's State Representative Blaine Wilhauer last night on the House floor before the gun ban and registry passed, and also before Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the measure into law. And it's time now for you to sound off at 217-629-7970. That's the phone number again, 217-629-7970. It is now illegal in the state of Illinois to buy or sell certain types of semi-automatic weapons and magazines of more than 10 rounds for long guns, more than 15 rounds for handguns, and also you're going to be required to register your already legally purchased semi-automatic guns on a list that the state police apparently are going to be able to change whenever they see fit through rule changes as to which guns are on the list and which guns are not on the list. So interesting to see if that's going to be communicated and how that's going to be communicated. If state police next year say all of a sudden, now we're going to add all of these guns to the list that need to be registered, what happens then? So you've got this now signed into law, and Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday, after signing it, talking about what we heard from Blaine Wilhauer, but also what you heard from State Senator Darren Bailey, that they don't plan on complying. And actually, our daily poll question at WMAY.com asks you if you plan on complying. And that has flipped to most of you saying, no, you won't comply with this. But here's Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday reacting to the question of how does he plan on enforcing this, especially if you've got sanctuary counties for Second Amendment, you've got prosecutors who don't want to enforce this. You've got counties across the state who have stood up and opposed this measure even before it came out with your Second Amendment sanctuary status. Here's Governor Pritzker reacting to some of that.
Well, you don't get to choose which laws you comply with in the state of Illinois. Let's be clear. The fact is that, yes, there are, of course, people who are trying to politically grandstand who want to make a name for themselves by claiming that they will not comply. But the reality is that the state police is responsible for enforcement, as are all law enforcement all across this state. And they will, in fact, do their job, or they won't be in their job. Well, remember that anybody who doesn't comply, there are consequences for that. So, we've given people, I think, a year. We're at about a year, right, for people to comply, to fill out the paperwork and so on, and we expect them to do that.
So you do have that year, January 1st, 2024 is the deadline for you to submit records to Illinois State Police, and they can start taking those records October 1st. But the gun rights groups, they vowed to sue. They plan on suing next week. We talked with Gun Save Life Executive Director John Bach earlier this morning, and he said that they anticipate that lawsuit as early as next week, with injunctive relief granted by the courts as early as February to block this. They fully predict that that's going to happen based off of recent U.S. Supreme Court decisions. But I want to get your thoughts now at 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. Again, 217-629-7970. I've also got the email open, bishoponair@gmail.com. Got at least one message there we'll talk about, but get your thoughts. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hi, good morning. I think it'll be very easy to enforce it. I mean, all they got to do, because obviously rules or laws are followed in Illinois, they just do it just like they do the immigration law. I mean, there's no better example to follow a law than to do exactly what you do with immigration, and look how well it's worked. I mean, not only for Illinois, but for the nation, how they followed that law and stopped immigration. So I look for this to be a huge success if they just follow their own guidelines.
I definitely pick up on a little bit of sarcasm there, but yes, we have immigration laws that even the government doesn't seem to be following. You've got Illinois not complying with federal immigration laws with their various measures that say that local law enforcement can't cooperate with federal law enforcement when it comes to immigration. But is that mixing apples and oranges here? Maybe not. I mean, we're talking about compliance with laws, right? Isn't that the crux of all of this? All right, let's get to more of your calls at 217-629-7970. Good morning.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
My name is Stephen Sennett, and I was calling about the bill that passed in Congress, the State Congress for Illinois.
In the General Assembly, you are on the radio. Good morning.
Okay. First thing, as a citizen of Illinois and a gun owner in Illinois, I would like to actually call for the immediate arrest and demand they be charged with acts of tyranny and acts of treason against the Constitution of the United States. Because what they are trying to do is they're defying the Constitution of the United States, which was written by the people against the government to restrict the government, not to restrict the people.
And that's been an argument a lot of even lawmakers that oppose this used on the floor in debate, that those who vote for this are violating their oath of office to uphold the not Illinois Constitution only, but also the U.S. Constitution. Appreciate the call. We're getting more of them. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Oh, we would have been there. Let's go to this one. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hi, it's David from Chicago again. How are you doing?
Hey, it's good to hear from you. Well, we saw it yesterday. It happened, and what's your reaction?
Well, I think the Senate floor debate, and then on the House, Rep. Ms. Sochi, I'm sure I'm butchering her name, gave a master class in the case law that's going to be used to overturn this law.
You're talking about Deanne Mazzocchi?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what Bob Morgan and Welch are failing to tell their constituents is that once this law is overturned on Second Amendment grounds, not only will it overturn this new law, but it will also overturn all the more restrictive municipal ordinances. So that those ordinances in Highland Park, Cook County, Oak Park that ban assault weapons and quote-unquote high-capacity magazines, those will be nullified once the court overturns this specific law. So they're going to actually end up worse off than they were before this law was passed.
Well, at least those who want more gun control would be worse off. Those who advocate for gun rights, I imagine they'd be better off?
Yes, and this is something I was talking about with, kind of within a gun group that I'm part of last night, is that there's actually green shoots to this passing because it accelerates what was already happening in the state. There were already lawsuits challenging the Highland Park and Cook County assault weapon and capacity limit bans. This just rolls all of those cases up with statewide ban, which I think accelerates the nullification of those local ordinances.
Yeah. Well, and listen, I appreciate the call. We will be talking about this in a lot more extensive detail with a lot of your reaction, but I also want to bring on experts and lawyers to talk about all of this because we're going to follow this all the way through. Obviously, the lawsuits have yet to be filed. Expect those to be filed soon, and you can expect some kind of injunctive relief being requested, immediate injunctive relief, a restraining order. And then if the governor wants to take it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, I think that's possible. It could happen. You mentioned Deanne Mazzocchi last night on the House floor. Here's some of what she had to say to Bob Morgan and speaking to the bill.
Illinois, historically, we've passed all sorts of gun-related legislation, and historically, courts have repeatedly struck that legislation down. So if you want to argue why are we not seeing any change on this type of issue when it comes to the state of Illinois, it's because this legislature continues to enact legislation that is patently unconstitutional, is not going to work, is not going to actually stop violence in this instance. All it's going to do is give the courts an excuse to strike down yet another piece of gun legislation. So you all keep saying that you want to have common sense gun legislation. The only way you're going to have legislation that is going to pass constitutional muster is to focus on conduct of an individual, is to focus on things that actually are, for lack of a better phrase, outside the historical norm for the Second Amendment. And what you've thrown into this piece of legislation here guarantees it's going to be stricken down. So because I don't think it's a good idea for all of us who have actually taken an oath to say we are swearing to uphold the Constitution and the standards that it offers, every time you do this, you basically make a mockery of that oath. Thank you.
So again, that was Deanne Mazzocchi on the House floor yesterday, reacting to the bill, saying that it's not going to stand legal muster. But Governor J.B. Pritzker last night, he sounded confident that this will, but he also seemed to be talking a lot about national politics, which, since he got the second term and even before then, people were asking, is he running for president? Well, I'll let you hear what he had to say about all of this, especially on a national level, and whether or not that indicates to you that he's seeking to possibly head to the White House, with this being one of the planks for a presidential bid.
It shouldn't have to be that way, but unfortunately there are pro-NRA governors in at least half the states in the country. There are pro-NRA legislators in the House of Representatives, which is now in the hands of those pro-NRA legislators.
And he's talking about the efforts to try
almost
to
half of the United States Senate. So
get this passed on a federal level, and the efforts underway.
I don't know what it's going to take for them to move on it. What I know is that I'm going to do everything I can now and going forward to make sure that the Congress passes an assault weapons ban. It worked in the 90s. It worked. The statistics don't lie. So why won't they pass it now? It's because of the gun lobby. That's the reason. Well, we've shown that you can overcome the gun lobby. We've shown that here in Illinois. We can do that nationally, too. You may be surprised to know I actually do talk about this all the time with people outside of the state of Illinois. But yes, of course, for example, there's a National Governors Association meeting in February that I'll be at. I'll be talking to members. This is often a one-on-one kind of discussion. And yes, there are 535 members of Congress and 50 governors, but it is that personal connection with people and talking to them about what's possible in their states that they can get done that I think moves the ball. So I'll continue to do that. I think about me that I sort of never stop working. And I do think that on a national level, people ought to follow our lead.
So Governor J.B. Pritzker last night signing that measure into law. We'll obviously talk about this a lot more tomorrow and the days ahead and the weeks ahead and the months ahead. The Second Amendment, of course, is the well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And that was, to topic of discussion, 250 plus years ago, even before that. But now it's obviously a topic of discussion here in Illinois. Appreciate everybody chiming in on this, but we got to take a break. It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. And coming up, Business in the 217. Stay tuned. It's now 8:23 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
I'm Greg Bishop, and every week I break down the big issues from the Springfield City Council meeting with the Council Roundup. From debates about zoning to city growth and everything else city officials have to say, we serve it up with the Council Roundup, sponsored by Head West Substop. When you want a great sub, you've got to Head West. Wednesday mornings at 7 on Springfield's Morning News with 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Catch past episodes on demand at WMAY.com.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go. Keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just 2 options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Hey, John, when you think of the word supply chain, what's your next impulse?
No, turn off the news, run for cover, start whimpering.
Yeah, well, a customer of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World wrote in that they visited the store wanting to buy a microwave.
Something that used to be so simple.
Oh, right. You know what they walked out with?
Let me guess. A microwave.
Exactly. Dick Van Dyke had what they needed in stock, and the customer also remarked as to how helpful the salespeople were, too. Supply chain problems are still a thing, but this customer got the help they needed, and they wrote in to thank us.
You know, a little less whimpering in today's world can't be a bad thing.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Supply chain issues are minimized when you have multiple locations and people who know how to help you with your next purchase. All we do is appliances, and we do them better than anyone else. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Why waste another night on a mattress that's not comfortable or supportive? This is Caleb Kitzman with Verlo Mattress. Our mattresses aren't dropped off by the truckload like most mattress stores. At Verlo, we handcraft every mattress in our local factory. That means we custom fit a mattress for you, not the other way around. Stop in this month and pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and get up to $200 off. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
Save up to $600 during Verlo's clearance sale.
Right now, during the Verlo Mattress Clearance Sale, you can save even more with Verlo's already low consumer direct prices. Oh, you'll find phenomenal savings on floor models and discontinued mattresses. And all our mattresses are made locally, just for you, and are backed by our lifetime comfort guarantee. Oh, but you better hurry. The sale ends soon. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
Less hassle, more travel. We've got connections.
Springfield to Chicago O'Hare to anywhere you need to travel on United Airlines. From your next business trip to your next family vacation, United Airlines can get you there from the Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport. Security lines are short, parking is always free, and customer service is a top priority. Book your next United Airlines flight from SPI at united.com.
SPI, take the easy way out.
The WMAY Daily Poll is sponsored by Adams Pest Control for commercial, residential, real estate inspections, and termite control. Cast your vote with the WMAY mobile app or at WMAY.com/poll.
And today's poll question, will you abide by the new Illinois law banning certain types of weapons and requiring you to register those weapons? Yes or no? 62% of you say no, you won't comply. Go vote at WMAY.com/poll or on the WMAY mobile app. It's brought to you by Adams Pest Control.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
All right, let's get now into it with Michelle Ownby, publisher of the Springfield Business Journal, with the latest and what's going on in the business community. Michelle, thanks for taking time with us this morning. We've got just a short amount of time. Of course, a lot of breaking news overnight with the gun ban being signed, so I apologize, but that dominated a lot of this hour with phone calls, but I do want to get to what's the latest in the business community, so let's get right to it, Michelle. Talk about the team up between a couple of individuals looking to bring about some modern soul food with a classy touch.
About new restaurants, and we've got one on the way to downtown, Aunt Lou's Soul Food, and as you mentioned, it's a partnership between Corey Dickerson and Smar Jesse Taylor. They are opening this restaurant in the lower level of 524 East Monroe. Now, you may remember a month or so ago we had written about that property that's commonly known as the Booth Ferguson Buildings. That's the Rick Lawrence project that's been sort of on and off for a number of years, and we had looked at some of the issues surrounding that and the development, but one small piece of the puzzle is this new restaurant. They do have building permits on file and are actively renovating that lower level space. It was occupied by Valet up until a couple years ago when they made their move out west, and of course for a couple decades before that it was Cafe Brio, which is how a lot of people still think of it. So coming soon to that space, Corey said that they're putting the finishing touches on it and hope to be open within the next month or two there. So something a little new and different for downtown.
Definitely enjoy finding out about the latest restaurants and what's happening, where it's happening, and more. We're talking with Michelle Ownby, publisher of the Springfield Business Journal, here with Springfield's Morning News. Let's talk about a fitness center that's opening.
Yeah, speaking of something new and different, this is not just your run-of-the-mill fitness center. Bungee by Danae Fitness is opening this Saturday, although they're actually having an open house on Friday from 2 to 8. Of course, it's something a little unusual, a little different and new to Springfield. So owner Danae Romanato says she wants to give people a chance to come by and check it out. Basically, if you've seen the pictures, this is in one of the West Side Strip Centers over on Yukon Drive, right by Anytime Fitness and Smoothie King, and they've actually got a bunch of health-related places in that center, interestingly enough. But they've got 12 stations with these harnesses, and so one's for the instructor, one for the assistant instructor, and then 10 people per class. And it's sort of this, cardio workout, but high intensity, low impact. Danae herself was a fitness instructor at a couple of places in town before having some injuries and kind of having to look for some more adaptive types of exercise that she could do. So seems to be very popular just based on the feedback we've gotten on our social media posts about it. And she says the classes for the weekend are already completely booked. So a lot of people anxious to give that a try.
That's fantastic, especially for the New Year's resolutions and people looking to get more fit. Michelle Ownby, publisher of the Springfield Business Journal. Before we touch on this last item, talk about how people can get their hands on the latest SBJ.
Well, if you go to springfieldbusinessjournal.com, you can sign up to get the print edition delivered to your home or office. And, of course, you can also sign up for Biz Bites. That's our weekly newsletter that comes out every Wednesday afternoon, and it's free of charge. So if you get online in the next few hours here, you can still get this week's edition.
Now, this next story, somebody that a lot of us here at the radio station know, a lot of people around Springfield know, Patrick Russell and his apparel company. Tell us what the latest is there.
Yes, so Reverie Apparel, he opened that business in November of 2019, shortly after completing the Co-Starters program through Innovate Springfield. And he's now closing the brick and mortar location, but the business itself will continue to exist online. He wants people to make sure they understand that. He's no longer going to do the custom T-shirt orders, but Reverie Apparel itself, they were really known for their catchy slogans and kind of witty shirts and things like that. You're still going to be able to get online and order those shirts. He's working with Whimsy Tea, another one of the Addams family businesses, to be a pickup point for the merchandise. And his last day in business as the brick and mortar operation will be Saturday, January 28th. And he says that they're still working out all the details, but the Addams family is planning a big old send-off for him. So he'll be in the shop from 10 to 3 that day, and then they're going to continue the party over at Buzz Bomb and have some other festivities planned. So I'm sure that'll be a good time.
Love it. Good stuff. Michelle Ownby, thank you so much every week checking in with us with Business in the 217. We'll definitely talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg.